let's see. Let's see if this is working. Alright, hey everyone, Sebastian here, back again with more SAT studying. We're doing this together again like we did last time. I did one yesterday for you all. Yesterday was the day to do it. And now today I'm going to be doing more math and verbal. And like before, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. So Tom scored, we'll start with this one here. Tom scored 85, 78, and 98 on his first 3 exams in history class. Solving which inequality gives the score G on Tom's 4th exam, the result in a mean score on all 4 exams of at least 90. Okay. So, at least 90, we have that here and we have that here. Now the difference is here we're dividing by 4, here we're dividing not by 4. So if we want to get this to work, right, it should be G plus 85 plus 78 plus 98. We don't want the 4G, that doesn't make sense, so it should be C. Let's check. Perfect. All right, now let's try this one out. Hero and Sophia purchased shirts and pants from a store. The price of each shirt purchased was the same, and the price of each pair of pants purchased was the same. Hero purchased 4 shirts and 2 pairs of pants for $86, and Sophia purchased 3 shirts and 5 pairs of pants for $166. Which of the following systems of linear equations represents the situation? If X represents the price in dollars of each shirt, and Y represents the price in dollars of each pair of pants. Okay, so for this one, 4 shirts, 3 shirts, and 5 pairs of pants. So 4 shirts and 2 pairs of pants adds up to $86, and X is the shirts. So it should be 4X plus 2Y equals 86. That's here and that's here. So it's not that. It's not that. Well, actually, this is 4X and 3Y, so that doesn't make sense. So it should be A. 3X plus 5Y equals 166. Clean. Alright, so then we have this one here. Some values of the linear functions are shown in the table above. Which of the following defines F? So we have 1, 5, 3, 13, 5, 21. Alright, so for this one we're going to do, again, 1, 5, 3, 13. So you go up 2, you go up 8. So it has a slope of 4, up 2, up 8. So that should be C. That's the only one that has a slope of 4. And now we have this one here. If 2n over 5 equals 10, what is the value of 2n minus 1? Okay. So what you can do is multiply by 5 and get (2n equals 50). So 2n equals 50, so 2n minus 1 equals 49. Oh, whoops, 49. All right, now let's try this one. I don't know why we're getting all easy. Hopefully the next one will be harder. If it's not, then I'll switch up the system to make it harder. The function g is defined as g of x equals 5x plus a, where a is a constant. G of 4 equals 31 was the value here, so we could do again same type of thing. Do 5 times 4 plus a equals 31. So we get 20 plus a equals 31. A equals 11. You should be able to do this in your head, not have to write it out at all. But I'm just writing it out to show you all my thinking. So this could be C. Also, if you have any questions, please ask them in the thing, in the chat. All right, let me try again. Those were all too easy. I don't know why I was doing that to us. I'll just do medium and hard. Start practice. This is a great website. I'm not associated with them, but I use it with my students. Practice SAT. Okay, a cube has a surface area of 54 square meters. What is the volume in cubic meters of the cube? So a cube, remember the surface area of a cube, because there's 6 surfaces and they're all the same, they're all x squared, should be 6x squared equals 54. X squared equals 9. X equals 3. What is the volume? It's going to be x cubed. So we do x cubed equals 3 cubed equals 27. So that would be B as in boy. Perfect. Now how about this one here? In the given equation, S and R are constants and S is greater than 0. If the equation has infinitely many solutions, what is the value of S? So if it has infinitely many solutions, that means both sides are the same. So on the left side, we have 12x plus 28 over 4 minus s over 13. So for them to be the same, they're going to have the same slope. So that's all I'm going to care about. I'm just going to focus on slope and not worry about the other part, because I'm just going to trust that they're going to take care of that part for me, since we're just focused on R, and R is going to go here. So on the left, we're going to have, let's divide by 4, and we're going to get 3x plus 7 minus s over 13 equals, okay, so R has to equal 3 for them to have the same slope. So R equals 3. So then we're going to do 3x minus 24. Okay. So then if they have infinitely many solutions, what is the value of s? So basically we're going to do s minus, or 7 minus s over 13 equals negative 24. We're going to subtract 7 and multiply by negative 13, so s is going to equal negative 31 times 13, which we can do right here. So it should be 403. Let's see if I got that one right. Okay, perfect. That's a tricky one. Normally they just have you do the slope part, but this one they had us find the other part. In the equation above, a and b are constants. If the equation has infinitely many solutions, what are the values of a and b? So they have infinitely many solutions. Let's expand the left side. And we'll get 3a minus ax minus b equals negative 1 minus 2x. So the slope has to be the same for both. So a equals 2, because that's got us 2x. That'll get us to negative 2x. So a equals 2. And if you have questions on how I'm doing this, please feel free to ask in the chat. So then we're going to plug that in. We'll get 6 minus 2x minus b equals negative 1 minus 2x. Okay, so the 2x is canceled, so 6 minus b equals negative 1. So then negative b equals negative 7, b equals 7. So the answer should be b. A is 2 and b is 7. Let's see if I got that. Okay, now let's try this one out. For line H, the table shows the 3 values of x and the corresponding values of y. Line K is the result of translating line H down 5 units in the xy plane. What is the x-intercept of line K? Alright, let's see here. Three values of x. So this is three values of x. Okay. So when you go up 5, you go up 30. So h equals h of x equals 6x plus b. We could plug in a value and do something like 18 times 30. So we'll do h of 18, which equals 130, which equals 6 times 18 is going to be 108, plus b, so b equals 22. Is translating it down 5 units. So we'll shift it down 5 units. So k of x equals 6x plus 17. All right, if we're doing 6x plus 17, which of these is going to give us that? So what we'll do is x-intercept is when we get it to be 0. So 0 equals 6x plus 17. So then 6x equals negative 17. X equals negative 17 over 6. That'll be D as in dog. Alright, so now let's switch it up. Let's go on to verbal for a bit. Some whale species. Oh, this one I have to shrink myself down. All right. So some whale species practice lunge feeding, in which they lunge toward prey with their mouths open at wide angles, collect the prey and the surrounding water, and then filter out the water through baleen plates in their mouths. Although the volume of water engulfed increases with whale's body length, the surface area of the whale's baleen plates, which influence the rate at which water can be filtered, does not increase with body length to the same degree, which helps explain why blank. Okay. So we're being told, right, that the water engulfed increases with whale's body length, but the surface area does not increase with body length to the same degree. And that could explain engulfed water. So this is the typical body length, average number of lunges per dive, average time to filter out the water. So the longer they are, this goes up. Here, this is the smallest one, so that seems to be the relationship. Minke whales and humpback whales show similar average filter times. They don't really have a similar time because this one's double that one. Humpback whales show an average of 6.28 lunges per dive. I don't think that really ties in with their body length. Fin whales show a longer average filter time than minke whales do. No, that's not it. And because that is just... that could be it. And then let's look at D. Blue whales show the longest average filter time and the highest average number of long dives. No, I think it should be C, because that shows how the longer you are, the longer your time will be. A common assumption among art historians is that the invention of photography in the mid-19th century displaced the painted portrait in the public consciousness. The diminishing popularity of the portrait miniature, which coincided with the rise of photography, seems to support this claim. However, photography's impact on the portrait miniature may be overstated. Although records from art exhibitions in the Netherlands from 1820 to 1892 show a decrease in the number of both full-sized and miniature portraits submitted, this trend was established before the invention of photography. Based on the text, which can be concluded about the diminishing popularity of the portrait miniature in the 19th century. A. Factors other than the rise of photography may be more directly responsible for the portrait miniature's decline. B. Although portrait miniatures become less common than photographs, they are widely regarded as having more artistic merit. C. The popularity of the portrait miniature likely persisted for longer than art historians have assumed. And D. As demand for portrait miniatures decreased, portrait artists likely shifted their creative focus to photography. Okay. So what we're told here, right, is that they first thought that photography caused the painted portrait to decrease, and then the diminishing, but then they find that this may be overstated because the decrease submitted occurred before the invention of photography. So it's not about having more artistic merit. It's not that one. It's not about factors other than the rise of photography. Okay, that could be it, actually. The popularity likely persisted for longer. No, because it happened before. They started losing people before that. It should be A. So remember, let's try this one out, guys. Let's see how we do. If you can come up with the answer before I say it, feel free to put it in the chat. The Appalachian Trail is a hiking path in the eastern United States. Much of the 2,000-mile trail passes through wilderness areas. In order to blank those areas, the United States Congress passed the National Trails System Act in 1968, ensuring that the trail would not be sold or commercially developed. So what are they trying to do? Are they trying to... Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? A. Borrow. B. Postpone. C. Protect. And D. Decorate. Anyone have any ideas for this one? Exactly. It should be in order to protect those areas. So it'll be C. Alright, now we can go back to the math. Let's try that out. I'm switching it up quickly today just to get some variability in here. The graph of the equation ax plus ky equals 6 is a line in the xy plane where the k... Here, you know what? I'm going to move myself up, actually. Where a and k are constants. If the line contains the points -2, -6, and 0, -3, what is the value of k? Okay, so how do we do this one, right? So what is the value of k? Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy to have you here, Brian. So which of these will be it? -2, -6, and 0, -3. What you could just do is make a table and do -2, oops, -6, -3, 0. Then you're going to get a formula. Y equals 1.5 minus 3x, and we're going to convert that to the regular equation. If you get the answer before I do, please feel free to put it in the chat. Test yourself out. Let's see. So we're going to have y equals 1.5 1.5x minus 3. Now I'm going to multiply everything by 2 so we don't have 1.5x. We'll have whole numbers. We'll have 2y equals 3x minus 6. Then I'm going to add 6 because we have a positive 6. We'll have 6 plus 2y equals 3x. Then I'm going to subtract the 2y. 6 equals 3x minus 2y. And I'm looking for k, which is the one that's associated with y. So it's going to be negative 2. Okay, it'll be A. If anyone has questions on that, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next one. I've had a cough for a while now. It's been killing me. An event planner is planning a party. Cost the event planner an overtime fee of $35 to rent the venue and $10.25 per attendee. The event planner has a budget of $200. What is the greatest number of attendees possible without exceeding the budget? All right, and remember, if you answer before me, put it in the chat. Also, if you have a specific question you want me to cover, type a question, put that in the chat as well. So it's planning a party. It costs the event planner a one-time fee of $35. So we're just going to make an equation. Let's see. Yeah, so I see what your question is about that. So for this one is a good example of one where you don't really need Desmos. And yeah, when they have multiple variables, that's when you're going to have issues with finding it. So for this one here, let's see, cost the event planner a one-time fee of $35, so it's 35 plus 10.25x equals 200. So 10.25x equals 200 minus 35 is 165. So I'm going to divide that by 10.25 to get it. So divided by 10.25. When I find one that has it, what is the greatest number of attendees possible? It would be 16 because you have to have a whole number of attendees. And that should be it. Okay. When I find one, Brian, that has the thing where you can't use it, I'll let you know. But Desmos can be used for a lot of things. There's definitely things where you don't want to use it though. F of c of x equals x minus 8 for all values of x, where c is a positive constant. If f of 2 equals 35, what is the value of c? Interesting. So f of some value times x equals that. So what we'll say is x minus 8 equals 35. X would equal 43. Okay, and then with that, we're going to do Cx equals 43. So C of 2, so is x 2? Interesting. Okay, so for this one, if C were 43 and a half, if f of 2 equals 35, okay, so what you do is you say this, look. You say Cx equals 2. So then, and then x equals 43. So Cx, if x equals 43, 43c equals 2. C should equal 2 43rds. Let's see if I'm right. I might be totally off on this one, honestly. Sometimes I forget what they're trying to ask. Okay, I got it. This one's definitely tricky. I'm going to let you guys think about it for a second while I check on something. But if you have questions on it, let me know. Oh, you want to do transition words and reading and vocab? We can do that right now. Let me just... I will send that, Brian. Give me 1 second. We'll start working on vocab and transitions in 1 moment. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to start setting it up here. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Hey, is this everyone's first time taking it, or have you all taken it before? To practice rush, SAT, choose subject, reading and writing. So you said words and context. I'll do words and context, and I'll do transitions to start. And then we'll do easy, medium, and hard. Let's start practice. Okay. I know this is, let me see. Okay. With darkness falling, a mother elephant, let me erase this, loses sight of her calf and wants to make sure it is safe. She releases an infrasonic call for the calf to hear. Infrasonic sound is below the range of human hearing. Okay. Let me wait up. I'm having some technical issues here. Alright, here I am. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Now I gotta make myself smaller. Okay. With darkness falling, a mother elephant loses sight of her calf and wants to make sure it is safe. She releases an infrasonic call for the calf to hear. Infrasonic sound is below the range of human hearing, but many animals can hear these sounds from several miles away. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? So we want to see the connections between the beginning and the end, right? With darkness falling, a mother elephant loses sight of her calf and wants to make sure it is safe. Okay. So then the second part, infrasonic calf for the calf to hear. Okay. So would she be doing this? This could help us. Would be for this reason, right? Because she releases an infrasonic call for the calf to hear, and that is being done to find the calf and make sure it's safe. So that one's a classic sort of medium one. Let's try this one. This is another transition one, which choice completes the text with the most logical transition. Okay. The number of dark spots that appear on the sun, known as sunspots, can vary greatly. For example, there were about 180 sunspots in November 2001. Blank, there were only about 2 sunspots in December 2008. So here, we begin by saying that they can vary greatly, and then we're given this, and then where there is many at the beginning, and then we're cut down to just 2. So there's a contrast going on. So that can also be using by comparison. So it should be D as in dog, just like that. The following text is adopted from John Matthias's 1925 short story, Fog. The fog extended its tentacles over ice, city, and river, gradually obliterating traces of familiar landscapes. At 35, the old panhandle bridge, supported by massive sandstone pillars, stalwart, as when erected 50 years before to serve a generation, now past the portals of life, had become a spectral outline against the sky. As used in the text, what does the word supported most nearly mean? A, held up, B, encouraged, C, improved on, D, defended. We're talking about a physical bridge, so it's being held up, so it'll be A. Okay. Now we have this one here. Niger ratified the Outer Space Treaty, an international agreement with over 100 signing nations that acts as the foundation for the laws of space, on February 1st, 1967. Jordan Blank has yet to officially ratify the treaty. It only signed it. So here we're showing 2 different ways of going about it. So we have in contrast specifically, for example, and similarly. They're not similar because they're doing the opposite thing. This is an example of the first one. And it's not specifically because that's when you narrow it down. So it should be in contrast. Huh. Oh, whoops. I have to press A. Okay, now let's try this one. When using sumac for dyeing clothes, textile artists first soak it in water to release its color, then they add the cloth to the dye bath and simmer it for hours, perhaps even days. Blank. They will remove the cloth, at which point it will have turned a vibrant red color. Which choice completes the text with the most logical transition? We have A, nevertheless, B, likewise, C, eventually, and D, in other words. So, what's the relationship between the first part and the second part after the blank? So they add the cloth. It's time-wise, right? The first thing happens and then the next thing happens later on, so it should be eventually. Eventually they'll do that. Good. Now we'll switch back to math. Okay. All right. Glad to have you here. I'll help you out, Winifred. So the solution to the given systems of equations is x comma y. What is the value of x, y? So we have 5x plus 14y equals 45. 10x plus 7y equals 27. So how are we going to do this one here? The solution, we could just plug into here and then work it out from there. So I'm going to do 5x plus 14y equals 45. 10x plus 7y. You could also do elimination method, but honestly, this is nice and easy. So we have 0.6 times 3. 0.6 times 3 is going to be 1.8. Okay. Now let's try this one together. If you get it before me, feel free to put the answer in the chat. Adam's school is a 20-minute walk or a 5-minute bus ride away from his house. The bus runs every 30 minutes, and the number of minutes W that Adam waits for the bus varies between 0 and 30. Which of the following inequalities gives the values of W for which it would be faster for Adam to walk to school? A, W minus 5 is less than 20. B, W minus 5 is greater than 20. C, W plus 5 is less than 20, or D, W plus 5 is greater than 20. Okay, this is a conceptual one, but we can get it. 20-minute walk or a 5-minute bus ride. The bus comes every 30 minutes, for which it is better to walk than to take the bus. So the bus is going to be plus 5. So if your wait time plus the 5-minute bus ride is going to take you longer than 20, then that means way faster first. So that would be when W plus 5 is greater than 20, D. Okay? Because what we're saying in this situation is that it takes you longer to wait and take the 5-minute bus ride than it would take just to walk. The annoying thing on this question, which I really hate, is that W can stand for both for waiting and walking. So I think it throws students off. If they had done W for waiting and instead of walking you rode a bike, that could be much easier, because then you wouldn't get those letters confused. Okay, let's try this one. Alan drives an average of 100 miles each week. His car can travel an average of 125 miles per gallon of gasoline. Alan would like to reduce his weekly expenditure on gasoline by $5, assuming gasoline costs $4 per gallon. Which equation can be used to determine how many fewer average miles he should drive each week? Alright, so if you focus on this, he needs to lose 100 miles. His car can travel an average of 25 miles per gallon. So he's driving he's using 4 gallons a week. Alright, so let's write that down. 4 gallons a week. Per week. Okay? And that would cost him, so right now he's doing $4 per gallon. So he's spending about $16. Okay. Now, if he wants to go down by that, he's got to go down to $11. M is the number of miles. Okay, so we have rate. We want to lose that $5. And that's going to be the rate, which is going to be 25 miles every $4. Right, because every 25 miles he spends $4 times the miles, and that's going to be B, I believe. Let's see if I got that one. I messed up. I should have been 4/25, not 25/4. Unbelievable.